It is such an honor for all of us to pay this homage to the great poet, printer, and a prophet that was William Blake. When I first came to England, they have been telling me that England is a place of scholarship and you can see lots of museums and exhibitions. And suddenly I told the Sahajogis that I would like to go and see Tate Gallery for William Blake's paintings. They were surprised because I seldom go to any one of them, especially the libraries and the books. And when I went there, I saw this great poet, this great personality, pouring out his heart with such concern, with such honesty, with such understanding and perception of the divine to the people of England, to understand the great powers of divinity. But to my surprise, there were some funny people. They had brought some magnifying glasses and they were looking at the drawings and we were watching the private parts of people. I said, look at these wretched, absolutely baser people who cannot see the sublime, the highest, which he wanted to paint. And they were taking photographs. I was surprised the way people reacted. And then I realized how tormented he must have been in his lifetime to live with such people who have no sense of divine. He must have cried in the wilderness. He must have wept. He could not have been accepted. It's impossible. Such low-level minds cannot accept something that sublime and great. And my heart bled with pain. Oh God, why did he take his birth in a place like this? To torment himself, to torture himself, saying something which cannot be accepted. But it's not so. I knew who he was, what he is doing, why he was here. We do not know about him much because from the books you can't understand who he could have been. He was an incarnation of Bhairavnath. That's whom you call the Saint Michael or Saint George, who is, as you know, the saint angel of England. That's why he had to incarnate. And for him, this was his role to talk about divine in an open, fearless manner. He had to use symbolic language. He had to use. It's not difficult to understand him at all. If you are a realized soul, you will read through it, sometimes laughing, sometimes weeping, enjoying the whole drama, what he has tried to express. When I read him, I am amazed at his sense of humor. How he openly comes out with such remarks. I feel he is like Markandeya in India or Kabir Das in India, who slashed the whole society with their sword all the time to see that they are brought to the proper shape, without fear, but so gentle. If you read A Song of the Tale is so gentle. And all of them who wear him perhaps or are the same style, extremely open, straightforward, you can say even blatant, and extremely gentle. The vision of Christ that he has described is the one which he sees through his own enlightened eyes. And he sees that the vision is completely distorted, is the opposite of what Christ was. I also felt the same way. I took my birth in a Protestant Christian family. I was shocked the way the Christians were. I said, are these the Christians? Now the point he brings forth is very clear cut, you can understand. That in the mannerism, if you are gentle, I am sorry, I am afraid, I doubt. Just look at that. It's very commonly we use this language. He says that Christ was not a gentleman of that kind. I also say, I am not seeking election. I am not here to please you. But I am here to make you please yourself, to enjoy yourself, to have your all wealth enjoyed, manifested. That is how he also put the vision of Christ before you, that he was not a gentleman who would go around and be extremely gentle to people and nice to them superficially, only the mannerism of it. But he would be so gentle with the people who are lowly. He created divinity out of fishermen who were ordinary people, uneducated. Absolutely, we can say, people who were one of the lowest in the strata of society. He picked them up and made them divine. He didn't go to the ministers and the prime ministers and the governors. He did not. When you see all the great people who are supposed to be looking after the religion part of it, they are busy only with governors, and they are only busy with the kings and the queens who must go and bow to them. They are politically activated people. How can a divine person get into this mess of politics which human beings have created? But we don't understand it because we try to rationalize everything. And thank God he's the one who talked against rationality and against all the intellectual ideas of putting down Christ to the mere level of a human being, because he was himself divine and he could understand Christ. He was so much pestered and actually persecuted that he used to get depression sometimes. And he had problems of money, problems of convincing his brother and sister, everybody trying to make him feel uneasy. Such a fine soul came on this earth to talk of Jerusalem. What did he mean by Jerusalem? What is Jerusalem? We go to Jerusalem for pilgrimage. Why? Because Christ was born there. England will become Jerusalem when Christ will be born here. But how many of English people today care for the spirit? English language itself is such a funny one that we use the word spirit for drinking, the spirit that you call alcohol, spirit for the dead souls which hang around, many more here, and spirit for the Atma, the spirit.